Item, Mr. Chairman, is the approval to purchase an additional radio station by the university. No university funds will be used. We would make a loan from bond proceeds. This would allow then us to remove ourselves as the only city in the major city in the United States that doesn't have a station devoted solely to classical music. Existing KUHF would be devoted to NPR News 100% of the time. The belief is that this will enhance our community outreach and further the mission of the university. And in addition to that, there will be a significant fundraising benefit. It appears that if you just look, as I do, with steely cold eyes at the dollars, it's about a 4-year payout, which is very reasonable for any kind of investment. And the committee approved it with 1 no vote. And I would move approval on that, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
I'm so sorry. I apologize. May I just please have just 30 seconds or 1 minute to talk to the board?
Can't do it.
What? Let Barbara handle it. No. Can't do it. Well,
Sir, we would have welcomed your comments this morning at the appropriate time. You're out of order, and I'm not in a position to change that.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
We're welcome to have you come back at the next board meeting and speak at the open session.
I don't think that the purpose of this ranking
don't give him a chance. Welcome.
I think it would leave a bad taste in a lot of us.
There's a motion and a second on the floor, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for coming. Any other, Carl, do you have anything to say on this? Let me just say that I think this. Yes, sir.
I have one question. How does University of Houston need 2 radio stations and Rice doesn't need any?
The reason Rice gave us for selling the station was that they were going to replace it with an internet station that reached their student population, that they did not feel that the current station with its current format was necessary for their mission. So they came to us and offered to sell us their station. For us, this is, as we discussed at the committee, it's an opportunity to go to a dual format station, really 2 stations, which is very common in large cities. The classical station becomes a freestanding classical station with its own audience, and the NPR news station becomes all NPR news. So again, Rice decided on their own, and I can't speak to their decisions, that they wanted to sell it. The decision here was based on the study of what other successful stations have done in large cities such as this.
Let me ask you this. How many watts does that station have?
It's a 50,000 watt station.
Okay. So it's all right. How did we come to 9.4 million?
We had 2 valuations done by outside firms, and actually, Ed, if you could go to the KUHF presentation, it's the one that's labeled Introduction to KUHF. And what you see here, if you go to the next. Okay, it was valued at $12 million. We had two firms do this, and the basis for that value, if you go, let's go to the next slide. The basis for that value was they did a market comparison. They looked at similar markets, similar arrangements.
For public stations.
For public stations, that's correct. They did a per capita number based again on the size of the city and the coverage of the station. They convert that and it produced a $12 million value. We're paying 9.5 for this. So we had two independent values done, and they both came in at $12 million.
And that's the only comp you really have, though, is June of '09, because the other comps were in a different market, and since then the whole radio business has really fallen on tough times. So those, you really have to take those other 4 comps and throw them out.
Well, again, even the comp, if you go back one, I'm sorry, 9.5, go back to the next one again. Back again. I'm sorry. There you go. We're paying 310,
Right, I see.
which is consistent with the 309 comp.
All right, let me ask you this, and I don't want to get into your negotiation
Sure.
tactics against Rice, because we're going to have to negotiate something
Sure.
else with them. What were they asking for the station?
Well, they walked away at 10,
Okay.
and then they came back and we got it at 9.5.
Okay.
Can I ask a?
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Was this station put out to market, or were we the only ones it was offered to?
Again, I can't speak for Rice, but what I know is that they determined that they wanted it to go to another public institution. They did not want to put it on the market, so they approached us with the offer.
So there wasn't a greater fool, maybe?
Excuse me?
I'm just...
Chairman, if I may make a comment, I asked many questions at the committee, and I'm very gratified at the administration's response and how
Microphone.
detailed. Is this on?
Yeah.
I asked many questions at the Finance Committee level and was very gratified with the level of detail that the administration, Mr. Prophet, who I think is in the room, provided to me regarding the current radio station, KUHF, as well as the additional station. And I thought about this long and hard, as Chairman Wise can attest. During the committee, we had a very long and prolonged discussion. But I just want to make the comment, as Chairman Wise said, I opposed the purchase of this radio station. And if anything, this exercise has proven to me that we currently have a standalone radio station that bears the university's name and uses the university's resources, over which we have very little oversight, and which does not have as its top priority the promotion of the University of Houston, its students, or faculty. I'm told that the new station will be different, but I have trouble believing that.
I
Want to
support
share that?
Nandita fully, because I'm very concerned that we are going to lose a certain tradition of the University of Houston that you cannot necessarily put a market value on.
Clarify that, Mika,
Pardon me?
with the tradition.
Of the traditions of having the radio station without having additional oversight, and that is a University of Houston product. Did that make sense?
Nandita, any other comment?
That's it. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else have any comment before we vote?
I'll make one comment. I was further on in the presentation. To me, one of the more compelling pieces of the presentation had to do with the fact that of all the major markets, we are the only one that does not have a full-time classical, and we're one of the very few that doesn't have a full-time NPR station. I do believe, and I've even heard, I believe, John Prophet say in the original committee meeting that eventually radio is going to move to internet. So this is not a long-term situation. Everything's going to move off of the broadcast according to the market studies, and they may or may not be right, but when you look ahead, you have to think of that. However, in order to position themselves to have a fully robust internet presence, these moves, I think, are they did convince me that these moves are beneficial and will help them. I think they will be able to also, according to the studies, and again with a hard, cold eye, I have to say I think they're right. I don't know, but I think it will pay for itself. So I'm in support of it, but I do see it not as a long-term tradition that we're starting, but of something that's going to transform over the next 10 years.
Any other comment?
Matt, yeah, I'd like to ask you a question regarding that region. Right, something you said was going to internet, assuming that the entire market will eventually go to internet, that the purchase of a radio station now would kind of help further that along?
Well,
is that what you're saying?
Yes, it helps position them to, or at least perhaps they'd like to. This is a question I have.
And maybe that is, but my question is, then why is Rice getting rid of it if they're going to internet?
Again, Rice made the decision for a whole set of internal reasons regarding they're going to use, as I've read in the newspaper, they're going to use the money they get from this sale for other projects. They thought that they could put the money to better use for other things.
But they don't need this radio station to position them to go to the internet.
Well, they're going to internet radio for their campus.
Just for their campus.
Okay. All right.
This station gives KUHF a capacity for Houston-wide reach.
Okay.
I think what I heard was, and tell me if I'm wrong, that until internet gets into the cars, people are going to be listening to it in the cars, and so it's the technology is not saturated the market. But again, I'm speaking out of turn because I know just enough to get in trouble about this.
Region in 1955, I think it was, radio was pronounced dead.
There you go.
Because of television. And everybody said radio will never recover, television is what it's at, etc. I remember it so well. And you could buy a radio station for $50,000, literally. Well, it turned out to be wrong. Radio simply adopted a different format, fulfilled a different need, music and news principally. And here, 50 years later, the radio is still going strong. And I'm sure it'll evolve again. But all I'm saying, I have no doubt that we'll get our money's worth out of this investment before something else.
But then I heard that video killed the radio star.
I'm sorry? I was reminded about the story of a public radio station being burglarized. And the burglars got off with $25,000 worth of pledges. All right, are we ready for a vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Opposed.
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 The motion carries. Did you get the no votes? Yes. Jerry? Okay.
How many votes is for?
Say again?
Let's count that vote again.
Yeah.
Who were the yay votes?
Well, how many of us are there?
4?
5. There's including the chairman.
I didn't say anything at first. I was still thinking, but but I think it was necessary because I didn't think it was a close vote. But we're fine. I did not abstain. I voted yes.
Last item, Mr. Chairman, is
Okay.